next one up. And while we're looking at our players stepping out onto the stage, you know, it's very exciting to see V5, especially Karsa, Rookie, Botic, BP God stepping onto that stage, as well as Invincible. It's all very exciting, but Dagda, I've got to ask you, what are your expectations of this team? It's the first time we see them here in the LPL. Like, lay it out.
I'm really hyped for Victory 5. Like, I think this team is going to do wonderful. I think the Karsa Rookie mid-jungle synergy is going to do fantastic. It's a shame we don't have Rich starting today. It will be Invincible starting that top lane. Rich still on his way over. But I still think that this will be a perfectly fine top lane for them to, or sorry, top side of the map for them to play through. But big question mark is going to be that bot lane. Botic, we've already kind of highlighted, I think is a crazy strong prospect coming through from LDL, and one that I'm keeping my eyes on. But we've seen from PP God where he can go too aggressive, he can cause issues sometimes in lanes, especially when he's on these enchanters. So I want to see if we're going to get a more stable bot lane that will allow Botic to take over on these late game carries like we saw in Demacia Championship, the Jinx, the Aphelios, these picks where he can be a staple carry for this team.
I'll have to see if he's going to be able to. I have to say my eyes are drifting towards the mid lane as well, because when we think of WE, not just this year, I want to say last year towards the end as well, it feels like a lot of the play focuses around Shanks. Right? But one of the weaknesses we've seen from Shanks is his early laning phase. Well, guess what Rookie's real good at? He's absolutely destroying people in the early laning phase. So I have to say, I am concerned for WE coming into this one, because I feel like that could be a huge point of weakness. Not necessarily that Shanks isn't good, just that Rookie is insane. And like, he bullies anyone. When that's your strength as a team, that's going to be a huge problem.
Well, we saw it right in his last series up against Angel. Angel nearly killed him game number 1 at the 7-minute mark, and then got solo killed by Angel in game 2, right? It really didn't feel like Shanks had full control and was massively comfortable in that quirky Victor matchup. So definitely I think I'm going to be keeping my eyes to see how Shanks does. And as you say, I am actually a little bit worried for Shanks coming up against Rookie, because if you end up with Rookie on the likes of Victor and you're in that quirky side of the matchup, Victor can bully Corky in those early stages. We've seen it in countless games so far, and Rookie is certainly someone who's insanely good on the Victor and should be able to even bully you twice as much as your regular Victor.
You don't have to worry about it, because let me explain. I threw Rookie a DM before the game. I was like, listen, mate, you know, Victor Corky, it's not that exciting. Can you slam a Z for me? And he was like, I got you, fam. Don't worry. It's Zedler versus LeBlanc coming up. I can feel it in my soul. Just in case anyone didn't get the sarcasm, I obviously did not DM Rookie. I don't even have the ability to DM Rookie before a game, but fingers crossed he got my psychic plea and will lock in something exciting. I'm really hoping it's not Victor versus. Please don't let that become the meta solidly again. I don't know. Like week 1, fair enough, but come on, lads. Let's move on now.
Well, we'll have to find out, because we are going to be coming in towards picks and bans, and I'm kind of with you. I know Lyric was losing his mind in the last series because he got his whatever amount of games of Corky at that point in time, but we'll have to see what the plan is going to be. We've already got Caitlyn banned away by V5. Traditionally, this ends up coming along with a Jinx, especially when the WE have banned away the Aphelios. Get rid of those top 3. And then maybe we just actually end up with that quirky priority, or the priority on Shanghaı, because you've already got that Lee Sin banned away.
Yep, Shanghaı could be the option. I mean, I feel like the jungle has been one of the more comfortable first picks throughout this entire first week, right? We've seen it for many, many teams, and View is just going to lean into that as well, continuing to pick the most picked jungler of the split so far. Now over to V5, we have to see what they will prioritize, because Aphelios, Jinx, and Caitlyn, all 3 banned away. And then that leaves open a lot of space for creativity in the AD carry role.
I will also say, I'm curious to see what Karsa is going to pick in the jungle, right? When we think of Karsa, he loves these early skirmishes. We've seen him go a lot towards the Trundle, but we're not actually going to get that counter pick. He's just going to go towards the Viego. So, different style coming through from Karsa than we usually see, right? Where he is on these more early game skirmishes. Now you've got, like the Viego, that late game scaler that can be a big carry for the team.
It's kind of funny to see from Karsa as well, because when I think of Karsa, I think of, I mean, obviously Lee Sin, but Trundle is one of, like, in my mind, a quintessential Karsa pick. So excited to see him going for a Viego early on in this series. We are going to see the Kai'Sa locked in for stay, and Kadaya with a hard engaged support. This is what we wanted to see, Duncan.
Yeah, this is great. You get that engaged support for Kadaya, someone he can roam around with and actually link up with you like we were talking about, but also syncs very well with the Kai'Sa, being able to proc her passive to allow her to get the ult off, but also denies that strong pick away from the Jhin. You deny the Leona Jhin combo, don't allow Kai'Sa to have this super strong bot lane to play around, and now with that Nautilus locked in, you're actually a bit more on the defensive footing here for Photic and PP God. You're not going to be going crazy hard engage unless Kai'Sa is down on that bot side.
I have to say, we just zoomed in on that WE badge and there was like some noodle stains or something on the guy's shirt. That wasn't a very complimentary camera zoom. We're going to have the Galio. We're going to have Corki ban. Let's go V5. Rookie knows what's up. And Vex taken off the board by WE as well. Hopefully we see a Victor ban, and then we can get real excited in this mid lane.
I'm really curious what the plan is here for V5, right? Like, Invincible wasn't the strongest laner. Honestly, wasn't one of our strong top laners coming in from 2021, so it feels weird to try and play up towards Invincible, but when you've got Jhin in the bot side, you tend not to play heavily down towards him, just let him push back and forth. So I'm curious. I was maybe thinking Rookie might end up towards something like the Twisted Fate mid, but it looks like he is going to go just towards that Victor, get the other big mid laner that we've been looking towards, but something that certainly is going to be more lane centric and not be looking to roam as heavily, especially if he's up against the Rise, who can push him in effectively.
Yeah, I will just quickly mention the TF was banned in this space. So, so Victor, I mean, like, let's be honest. I don't think anyone's surprised to see the Victor locked in, especially with Corki taken off the table. Rise is going to be the answer here. Another heavily scaling mid laner. And the question then remains, what happens in the top side? Both teams still need to pick those top laners up. What are you expecting here, Rob? Because we've seen a good amount of variation across top lanes.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be Renekton or something for PewBew. It's kind of just been like, hey, here's a top side that we can just leave and do its own thing. Gwen, also a big standout. So yeah, Gwen's going to go up towards top, but it's just something that basically can scale nicely, do fine by itself. You don't need a huge amount of pressure up on that top end, and you're going to be in a pretty good shape. It also allows WE to try and play more heavily down towards staying Kadai in this bottom lane and open up themselves to try and get that pressure, get this Kai'Sa towards the point where she's going to be nice and strong. On the upside for V5 though, hovering between the Kennen, hovering between the Jax. I honestly think the Kennen might have been a stronger pick here just because it gives you a bit more of that team fighting, which certainly V5 can set up around, but they want to just match toe for toe in those side lanes, and you've now got the Jax who can do that.
Yeah, and obviously a good individual matchup against the Gwen as well, right? Having that counter strike to be able to dodge a lot of the damage the Gwen can bring out during the laning phase, so will make life a little bit more difficult for PewBew. And let's be honest, PewBew is a player up in that top lane, can sometimes go a little too aggressive and perhaps not respect where the enemy jungler is on the map. Kai'Sa is a player that likes to gank top lane, so could be a match made in heaven there.
My only concern for WE is how heavily indexed they are into AP damage, right? Like, the build that we've actually seen coming out from Kai'Sa a lot of the times is that Lasher Tooth build into Crown of the Shattered Queen or the Ludens, and when you've already got Gwen, got the Rise in the mid lane as well, I don't think you really want to go that build. So I think we'll actually see kind of the old school Kai'Sa build come out, try and index more into AD damage. But if you're someone like the Nautilus, or if you're looking towards someone like you, maybe you can opt in towards the Anathema's Chains, end up putting that on towards the Kai'Sa, index in towards some of that magic resist, and you could be reasonably alright here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the builds are going to look like, whether it is going to be that AP Kai'Sa, whether we see a swap over towards something like just the Kraken Slayer Kai'Sa that we used to see all the time, right? And just go for the attack speed, go for the IE, go for the crit. Because, I mean, it's still a workable build, right? It's not that it doesn't exist anymore, but certainly not the optimal build for Kai'Sa in isolation. We'll have to dig further into that once we get into the game, because it is almost time to finally jump into V5's first game of the LPL. Now, this is an organization that is very hot cold. They joined the LPL. They didn't win a single game. Then they had an amazing split for themselves. Then they had another split where they basically didn't win a game. Is it going to be another split of glory for V5? They've certainly got a roster that could pull it off. I'm here, I'm ready to believe. But WE are going to be the opponent that stands in the way for the first one.
Yeah, the hype market is going to be all over the place during this match, right? Like, this is where we got to figure out our stonks. Are we putting V5 super high? Are they a Fortune 500 company? Or are they just going to pass themselves off and kind of fade into the distance? This is where I want to see. And I'm excited to find out. It definitely feels, though, like we're getting kind of a V5 that we're expecting, right? You've got a mid-jungle that can do reasonably well. Not quite as strong as WE's, so maybe we see Rookie and Cars kind of taking a back foot there, but certainly you can got Photic and PP God that you can look to play around on that bottom side if you want to, and kind of just leaving the top side of the map on an island, which we expected from V5 coming into the split.
Yeah, we certainly did. And Cars are going to be starting on this bottom side, obviously he did get a leash, whereas WE were able to just walk straight into that bottom lane view, starting on his blue buff without a leash. So less information available inside V5, and already an engage in this bottom side as well. A little bit of damage, but not really able to follow up too much. This is one of the issues of Kai'Sa in the early laning phase. If there's a lot of minions, your Q really doesn't do it.
Yeah, and you've also got the Nautilus there as well, who can counteract a lot of Kadai's engage, right? You're playing that more defensive style where, as the Zenith Blade comes through, you toss out the anchor, and you just have enough time from the CC to walk away, so you actually can't get the second half of the Q stun from Kadai. So, should be able to play reasonably safe in this bot lane, but we'll have to see what the story is. The only thing I do want to mention, though, is there is a ward on that red buff in WE's jungle. So, we do have the information for V5 as to where View started, which is why we see Karsa already playing towards that mid lane.
Karsa started as he missed the goal, as BB takes a heavy trade in the top side. This is what we were talking about, Jax versus Gwen. It's a tough matchup for Gwen. She's auto-attack based. Anyone that likes auto-attacks is going to struggle into your Jaxes, into your Shens, into these guys that still build Ninja Tabbies even though they don't exist. Ooh. This could be a kill. BB solo on HP and invincible. He's showing up. This is not a player that people were hyped about in the V5 roster, but so far so good.
Yeah, really nice job from Invincible, and one of the reasons that we see Jax do so well against this Gwen as well is Gwen has one of the highest armors in the game, base armor in the game. The only other top laner that has a higher base armor is Maokai, but Jax does mixed damage. So it means that a lot of that magic damage doesn't get negated by that crazy high armor, so Invincible can actually do quite well in this matchup. So nice setup for V5 thus far, right? You've got Karsa putting a bit of manners on towards Shanks in the mid lane. Invincible, not expecting him to, but taking over the top half of the map against BuBu. So, top side of the map firmly in V5's control and giving Karsa a bit of breathing room.
Yeah, so both junglers as well have now finished their full clear, or will have finished after they both do their Krugs. They each got a crab. I expect a reset. And we'll kind of have a moment of silence before we jump into potentially some more ganks. So, Dagda, while we've got a second, I want to talk win conditions again. Because during the draft, you were saying you preferred the idea of a Kennen up in that top lane to facilitate team fights. Well, Jax, not necessarily the thing that we know him for. I'm going to hold that thought, though. Because we've got Karsa playing Secret Agent here. He snuck into the brush, invincible. Looks like he's trying to bait BuBu into an all-in, but I mean, he's just going to win the trade instead, so BuBu doesn't have much reason to go for this one right now. Slightly more minions. Karsa is using a lot of time staying here, and this is just classic Karsa. I feel like we always see this with Karsa.
Yeah, and View now starting to hold up, so I think this is where Karsa will stay, but look at the minion wave, right? It's slowly pushing in towards Invincible, which is why BuBu's struggling so much, and Karsa is just kind of allowing Invincible to get the freeze regardless, but he didn't have much camps up on the bot side, although they are starting to spawn. So now this is where Karsa's like, hey, look, whatever about my camps, I'm supporting you, Invincible. I've got your hand here.
He knows that View is coming. He could tell. Karsa sticks around for so damn long. And I guess it sort of worked out in that View is here and Karsa was able to stop anything happening. I don't know. Both junglers going to still be on relatively similar farms, so I guess he's got away with it. That was a huge commitment for not a lot of gain, though.
Yeah, I think for Karsa, he thought View was going to be up there quicker, right? Like, BuBu's wave was in a horrific spot. He really needed to crash it, but View kind of stuck around for a little bit longer. So, yes, BuBu lost some farm, which is why we see that advantage, but Karsa ended up losing out on a good bit of farm. So, definitely going to be Karsa trying to fast clear through his jungle, moving from this top side into bot. Going to be looking to see if he can try and support this bot lane push that we got going for Photic and PP God. Could always look at a dragon off the back of that push if they really want to, especially since Rookie's wave now should be able to push back out as well.
Rookie missed the cannon. It's a disaster. Terrible player. It's all gone since he left IG. Yeah, I will say, you know, View is going to be feeling good with the XP as well because he managed to soak up waves in both top and mid lane on his way through the jungle. And now he started up this Drake, so this will be the first Drake going the way of WE. Castle really not in a position to try and contest this one. There's no Gromp available for Castle to steal either, and Wolves would be, I think, a bit too much of a commitment. The stay is caught, and that's an anchor to go through, and that's immediately a 2v2 kill for V5. Photic and PP got the triple Ps coming up trumps.
We said it, either pop off or get popped, and Stay's the one that's gone a popping this time around. A really nice job from PP God and Photic to pick that one up, but Shanghaı still coming down into the area. Kadaya trying to see if he can get the freeze, but PP God might have gone a bit too far.
And they've got a view for a gank right here as View goes in onto PP God. The anchor flashed in front of. Beautifully done. And surely you give this over to Shanks, who's made his way down and will be gifted a kill as a result. And in the meantime, Rookie was just getting the blue buff, so he can't even push Shanks out.
Yeah, nice timing from WE, as he said, right? No real pressure coming through mid lane, so Shanks is able to round warp down, and Kadaya acting as the bait, but Shanks now caught.
Rookie is like, you know what? I can't push the wave to stop you, but I can just physically stop you in the jungle instead. As looks like there was a bit of an all-in from Bubu up on the top side. Invincible down to half HP. Bubu's ult used. It's on cooldown, as is the Grandmaster's Might from Invincible. But without the ulti, it feels like every single trade will go the way of V5.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Invincible has that Vampiric Scepter already picked up as well, working towards the Blade of the Rune King, so he's going to be able to heal up nicely, despite the fact you had a lot of Summoner Spell as Ignite used, the ult used from Bubu as well, so he should be reasonably fine. But it's weird to see how heavily Karsa's orientating towards this top side of the map, because, well, might work out from here.
Yeah, we've got shenanigans afoot. PP God has moved up as well, as has Kadaya. This could be a full 4v4. Kadaya in a bit of an awkward spot. In the meantime, Karsa forced away from the blue buff, but the rest of the team is in behind. Smite came down, but can they win the fight? 3v2 as Shanks is desperately trying to arrive, but he's going to be too late. One kill down, looking for a second onto View, and V5 coming up huge in the skirmish. Rookie looking for more. The gravity field does not get a stun. It means WE walk away, but it's 3-1 already to V5.
Nice job from V5 to all orientate themselves up towards that Rift Herald and find the picks that they needed to. You can see that WE very separated, so it gives V5 an easy dunk onto the top side of that fight, and they pick up those kills, and especially the kills going over towards the Jax. One of the big things for V5 is that they want to try and match that side lane pressure that WE are going to put out, right? It's a 1-3-1 composition from WE, and the fact that Jax now already was winning out in that matchup, has the CS lead, has the kill lead, he's going to be able to work wonders against Bubu in these side lanes as we get later into the game.
Sneaking up past Karsa. I think he did spot him, so they'll know what's going on. A Herald secured as a hook comes down in the bottom lane and is followed with a root as well. Kadaya, you know, he's playing Leona, so you can kind of afford to take those trades. You're damn tanky. Bubu takes a bit of damage up in the top side as well. And this top lane is just so aggressive. Constant trade back and forth. But let's take another look, Dagda, at this blast cone flank from V5.
Yeah, I mean, V5 just do a really good job of separating WE, right? They get in, just kind of pincer them on this top half, separating both Shanks and Kadaya in the bottom half. And although Rookie had to burn his flash to keep himself safe, hold on, all in top side.
Oh, Invincible could be in big trouble here, but the stun. And using the leap strike to get away. Nicely done to escape from that one. And importantly, only a minor CS lead up in that top lane for Invincible. While the trades have been going his way, he's not actually building that much of an advantage just yet.
I will say, though, it's minor in every lane, though. Right? You've got a little bit in the top side, you've got a good bit in the mid, you've got enough in the bot side as well. It's been a wave across the board, and it means that you see that 2,000 gold lead that's opened up for V5. Now, but I have to see WE trying to equal that, using the fact that they've got Kadaya and View linking up together to get a little bit of pressure on towards Karsa, who has kind of been the one that's falling behind as a result of all this these winning lanes, because he's been trying to play topside keeping Invincible in check, allowing him to push aggressively and save him.
EP God had a stopwatch. He's face checked and he's bought a bit of time for his team, but there are 4 men strong for WE and they are not slowing down anytime soon. I say that, they have immediately stopped. So maybe they will slow down, but they get themselves a pick, and that's the crucial thing.
It's all right. It's just a quick reverse, right? They're going to come back out. They want to reset for Dragon. It's in 30 seconds. Make sure they can get that one for themselves as well. Exactly. But you can see now, right? 2 kills over towards this rise. Going to be working pretty well for Shanks. They can still operate as WE pretty well in team fights, right? You know, Shanks can lock up a lot of this front line. You've still got Stay, who can do a lot of damage. Kadaya and View are going to do wonders. Bew as well can do great in these team fights if he's set up correctly. So if you're getting like kills on towards Shanks, it can help out quite a bit to just have that extra DPS for some of these skirmishes and objectives.
And I'm liking that WE have not, you know, they've started to fall behind a little bit in this early game, but they've not just keeled over. We see a lot. Oh, that anchor did not hit, but we're going to say it did anyway. As Kadaya locked up in the gravity field. He's damn tanky as that Leona, but the Chaos Storm and a Caster on top will finish that kill over the wall once more, and the resets come through as Rookie gets another. And that's going to be V5 with 2 more picks, just in time for a Drake as well.
I love the way V5 are playing, though. We thought it was going to be the Rookie Karsa mid-jungle, right? As PP God gets hit by the Dragon. But PP God's been linking up with them as well, right? It's actually been a really strong trio that we're seeing, and this mid-jungle support was something that we saw a lot in summer 2021 from our really strong teams, and it's nice to see that we have it here again for V5. They've got Boat who could just push bot. He'll be fine. Let's get this 3-man unit working, and they managed to find the picks here while Shanks is clearing mid lane.
He just like throws out his magnet and it like zips onto the Leona. Oh dear, unlucky for Kadaya on that one. But as you say, really nice synergy, really nice coordination between these 3. And I have to say, it gets me excited, Rob, because PP God is this player that we've criticized for sometimes not having the greatest decision making. Well, alongside Carcer and Rookie, if you need people to train that, surely these are the guys.
But exactly, it was one of the things that Rookie was really good at, is Stay. Oh no.
Oh no, not again. He has to use the ult defensively. I think he is going to get out of this one. Oh, floating flashes straight. Good call. Can he hit the shots? Kadaya to block. That's 1, that's 2. The 4th will get a kill whichever target he chooses. And he's not just looking for these kills because there's a Herald in the lane. Carcer's here. This is likely the first tower of the game as the plates are going to be channeled into this AD carry. And with Carcer already 2-0-2, now a chunk of plates in his pocket. This Viego's huge.
I mean, this is real confident stuff from V5, right? Understanding how heavily they can play, hiding the bush there to pick people off, and they're going to get 2 towers out of this. And look at the rest of the map for WE, right? Yes, you're getting some pressure on top side, but Shanghaı is going to show mid, which now allows Invincible to actually collect this wave where he could have been zoned off. They're not really answering for anything for Rookie.
They're trying to get Rookie flash away from the Solar Flare, though. Shanks trying to chase him, but the Chaos Storm will force him away. The rest of the team coming, but that's going to be a rumble behind Rookie, who just all-ins onto Shanks, almost gets the kill, gets up to a blast cone and might escape, and now Carster's alone, has to ult over the wall, but he will do so and will escape. WE thwarted again. The trade overall, 2 plates for 2 entire towers.
But the idea is to cross map, not play towards the side of the map where V5 are strong, and that's exactly what WE did there. Maybe they could have made that play onto Rookie if he'd run towards the top half of the map, but because Rookie's smart enough to move bot side, keep himself as to where he's got the most members of V5, he's able to escape and has the backup there from Karsa as well to make sure he's able to get out. So unfortunately for WE, they get caught out, they're left with nothing, and they didn't really deny anything either. So now V5 sitting 5,000 gold up. It's looking pretty damn clean so far.
And how insane is that? 5,000 gold. They're only 4 kills up, and yet they're 5,000 gold ahead at this point. V5 are just destroying WE right here. And I love the split-second decision-making that we're getting out of V5. Like, Rookie sees that opportunity, all-ins onto Shanks, and now it's a 5v5 on our hands as the TP comes on through here. Invincible still in the top lane. He's going to be late to the play, but could be on a flank. This is the opportunity for WE if they can burst the Herald, but it's hard to burst the Herald And V5 starting to muscle them out of the play. That's going to be a route. A hook to follow it up. PP God is here. Solarfly just onto Rookie, but the long-range damage is working out. Carcer getting the resets to stay. Forced out of the fight. Jumps back in for Carcer with a double kill now. Stay low at HP. The route comes on through. The curtain call to finish the kills off. And Shanks is left wondering what on earth went wrong. The triple for Carcer on the new black and gold.
And it's looking so clean for V5. I mean, they orchestrated that so well, playing with the range in the start of the fight until they eventually engaged with PP God. And Carcer, well, we said he usually takes a backseat. He usually doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Well, you've got 5 kills now on Viego. You are going to be doing so much work in these fights, let alone the triple kill that he just picked up.
Yeah, absolutely insane stuff. Carcer is monumentally huge. 5-0-2 on a jungler that, let's be honest, it is a hyper carry in of itself. You really can 1v5 on this champion, and he doesn't even need to because the rest of his team is massively ahead as well. Let's take another look because it felt like WE, they had the numbers advantage, but just they really were not willing to commit.
Yeah, it's heavily reliant on Kadai getting this ultimate to kick things off, and he couldn't quite get the engage to start. And once that Xena play was down, you can see V5, Rookie moving up, getting a bit of the Ray damage down. You got Photic who's poking for a far with a Deadly Flourish. You just don't really have that same range coming through on towards on WE's side. So unless they find that engage in team fights, they're just going to get poked down. And V5 do a really good job of corralling them, finding them, pushing them in towards the jungle, and then using those big AoE damages, the AoE stun from Invincible, to actually set up the team fight.
Invincible was like, oh, only 2 of you? Yeah, I'll take that fight any day. Just gets chunked to half and backs away again. Not sure that was the greatest engage, but, you know, I'm there for it. That's the mojo that I'm seeing mojo. That's what I'm seeing right here. V5, they're bringing some mojo to my screen, and I'm absolutely loving it. Rookie's behind them. Stay is in all kinds of trouble, but he clears the wave. He'll be okay after all. But I have to say, 7,000 gold, 17 minutes in. V5, if they wanted to make an entrance in the LPL, this is how you do it.
And you have to be so careful here as WE as well, right? Because you know that V5, not only are they ahead, they still have Rift Herald in their back pocket. So if you try to make a play on the top side or you get spotted, that's an instant Rift Herald that at this stage where you've got no outer towers on the bottom side, you've got a tier 2 that's looking pretty unhealthy in the mid lane, you could end up losing your base very quickly. So need to be careful here as Carcer now moving up towards the top side. It feels like they want to try and crack down this outer turret on the top side just so they can really deny pressure on the map for WE and prevent this 1-3-1 composition from really getting going. Well, more so than they already have.
I was going to say, I think getting going is a long time past on this one. Shanks,
there's a bit
down in that bottom
it's
lane.
like, you know, when you got a motorbike and you've revved it like several, or not the motorbike, a lawnmower, and you've revved this thing like 9, 10, 11 times. You're like, it'll go eventually, just give me time, it'll work. But I don't know if they're going to get that time. V5 are just on a slaughter here.
And then it dawns on you that there's no petrol in the tank. And then it dawns on you that they've banned petrol because it's 2034 at this point, and suddenly you realize you need to buy a new lawnmower. That's sort of where WE are right now, looking at a new lawnmower because their garden, it's in disrepair at this stage as the Herald gets a slam down on that top left node.
Well, this isn't going to look too hot. V5, you can see already, now going to collect this mid lane wave. And with the tower that as low as it is, it's going to be very difficult to survive. The only thing that WE have in the favor right now is that Invincible is in the bot side. He needs to challenge his TP to try and defend. So maybe WE try to make some sort of play.
Maybe Kadai tries to get in, but it feels like they're just denied. View jumps into the action as well. That's a good CC chain onto Rookie. Chaos Storm's still doing work, but it's 1-0 in favor of WE. Invincible still not here, and the Realm Warp forwards. Oh, it's going to be more on top of it, but Photic flashes out to safety. But hey, 2-0. WE will take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, was Invincible needed to come and join as soon as that fight kicked off, but decides not to. Means that you end up losing 2 now. Maybe you can get some good damage on this turret, but a lot of members from WE on the way.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how slowly they're on the way, because he almost finished the tower. They wanted to commit to the Baron, I think, but Invincible just manages to put enough pressure to stop them doing that. But indecisive from WWE, right? They needed to just reset and stop Invincible straight away. They needed to acknowledge that maybe the Baron was not the call. But regardless, they do still get this fight, and this is a crucial pick on the rookie.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about Kadaya kind of trying to be that big engage tool for this team. Unfortunately, not able to connect, but PP God gives them that road in, and they're just fighting 4 versus 5 here as V5. Like, yes, you're ahead, but you aren't that far ahead, especially when you've got, like, Yu on this Gwen who can do a ton of damage. So they do still need to kind of be a bit careful coming into these fights. Now, with Baron up on the cards, it feels like you just kind of let Invincible stay on this bot side, keep him pushing in, use the fact you've got good push coming through from Rookie and Photic to shove in mid. You can even have Rookie, if he wants, like, push in top side and then rotate to join you in mid, but it really does feel like you've got control of the map here for V5, and that's not even including the fact that you've got the potential for Soul Point coming up in a minute.
Yeah, and it's an Infernal Soul no less, so even outside of the Soul itself, just getting Infernal Drakes always feels good. Extra damage, I can't really go too far amiss, and it's a victor with 2 items at this point for Rookie. It's 2.5 for Photic on that AD carry. Does feel like we're starting to get to the point where this V5 comp is really going to start hitting hard. And the scary thing is, it's not like this is a comp that doesn't scale. You've got a Victor, you've got a Jax, you've got a Viego. Like, these guys are going to be fine in the late game. So I'm really worried for WE in terms of, I'm not sure what the comeback plan is, because I'm not sure you win side lanes that hard, and I'm not sure that you win team fights. So I'm not sure how you get into this one.
And you can see, like, key breakpoints coming across for V5 as well, right? Pretty much everyone having completed their second item, if not halfway towards the third. So when you look across at WE, where you're only sitting on 1, they ain't looking so hot.
Not sure that this is the play. Kadaya locked up here, caught in Gravity Field, but will escape at least with his life. And in the meantime, Invincible and Bubu duking it out in the top lane, but Invincible just backs away, keeps himself safe, does not need to risk it for the time being. 4v4 around this Drake as Kadaya keeps stepping on forwards to try and get damage, but every time Rookie blasts him with a laser, and now the all-in from PP God, and the shots coming through from the curtains. And it's curtains for WE by the looks of things. 1 pick is all they need for V5 to just force them out of their own jungle. Castle once more as he ults forwards. Shanked hooked once more, and PP God, he cannot miss because, let's be honest, it's difficult to miss on this champion with hooks like that. Photic moving up in the mid lane, and it's looking like this might be inhib o'clock.
Look, it's just most people don't realize that Nautilus hook, he's underwater. He's water-based. It's just refraction. It looks strange because you're looking at it through water. That's all that it is.
It's like a straw in a glass.
Exactly. But the thing here is, V5, they managed to pick up the team fight win again, working wonderfully at range, getting a ton of damage and poke down, and then eventually finding the fight. But WE are in the area. They don't feel confident to go for this. And look at the dragon, right? Like, it was started up. Actually, it looks like WE have backed away, but still, I mean, V5, they're not as confident to go towards the Baron as they thought.
We have to take a moment to appreciate the restraint here. This is players from IG and Top Esports plus PP God, and they've decided that that was not a fight they wanted to take. Now posturing once more. This is 5 versus 4. Invincible is not here. Baron taken with a bounty, and it's a pick on Costa as well. Forget restraint. They've contested 4v5 with no health. What was that?
That was brilliant from WE. They were like, hang on a second, you are going towards Dragon, you're still low from the fight, you haven't reset yet. We can just take the fight. We're coming off of reset. We're perfectly fine to do this, and especially when you've got Invincible with no TP committed to Dragon, they just go for the Baron. They get the kill, they get Baron, and that's the back into this game for WE. You'll see, this is our replay just down to this Dragon, and see, once Kadaya misses his engage, there's just so much long-range damage that can come through. It's really difficult for WE to set things up. But the big thing here is you spend so long kind of chasing through the jungle here that you end up being able to reset here. Kadaya is coming up pretty soon as well, and they can get back out onto the map to pick up that Baron. So now what was looking pretty good for V5 at least gives a bit of a window for WE to push out these waves, get some gold, and try and hit a point where they can fight back.
There is a crucial thing to mention that happened during that fight that was happening on the other side of the map. Invincible finished that top inhib tower. He didn't get the inhib, but that tower's down. And we saw earlier the bottom lane tower was down to like a quarter of its health. That'll have healed up to some extent, but it won't go back to full. There is a window for V5 for shenanigans. That's all I'm saying. It might not happen. I'm just bringing attention to the fact that that's on the cards here. WE grouping on the bottom side to protect Shanks, who's trying to get onto this tier 2. With the Baroned up minions, Invincible will be here to try and clear some of that away. As V5 moving to answer, but they might move a little bit too close on this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're still playing a range, right? Like, you've got to keep your eyes on where Kadai is, because that's the engage tool, and he's at half health now. Terra goes down, you have objective bounties for WE, but Invincible is in trouble.
That's the second bounty they've got as well. The gold gap is starting to close somewhat, but the Realm Warp out to safety. That is beautiful to see. There's WE. I thought there was only 4 of them for a second there. The health bars were all like on top of each other. They will get out. They get themselves another bounty. They got the bounty on the Baron. They get the bounty on the bot tier 2. They are getting a good chunk of gold. They are still 5k down. Let's not overstate it. But they are getting back.
Exactly. And the more of these, like, 1 or 2 towers they can pick up, the more it's going to help, right? You're just getting such a big cash injection across the team. And if you manage to pick off 1 or 2 of these members, fantastic.
So he'll be in trouble here. I think he'll be alright, just also for wall. But that will be a Scuttle Crab gleaned in favor of WE. But crucially, Dagda, Baron is going to end in 10 seconds, so the odds of another tower going down for WE with this Baron are pretty slim to 0. But in 2 minutes' time, Infernal Drake comes back up. V5 are on salt point. So while the last couple of minutes haven't looked so great for V5, they are still very much in control of this game. And Kadai has to flash away. Bit of a fumble from him to try and face check into the jungle.
I mean, ignoring that fumble there, I actually like how WE have kind of set themselves up though, right? They get the bot lane pressure there, so they get another little bit of objective tower. You instantly see Shanks reset, push in that top wave. What they're trying to do is deny the opportunity for V5 to play off of top inhibitor in towards the dragon pressure as well. And because Invincible's on this bot side of the map, he's not actually shoving out that wave. So you won't have that top lane pressure right now for WE as this dragon spawns. So WE are actually able to contest this, and with the quicker resets, they can get control of River and deny V5 the opportunity to try and play at range, find flanks, find opportunities for the Realm Warp to get them into the midst of V5.
See if they can find those Realm Warps, but I have to say there's an extra concern I have for WE now. As I'm just looking at the scoreboard, I've realized that there's a man, half machine in the mid lane. It's Spartan 117 himself, Rookie, the Master Chief, is here to take down the Covenant that is WE. But WE have a position on the Drake so far. 35 seconds until that comes up, and you have to believe that V5 will make a move. The alternative is Invincible staying in that top side and trying to just... I mean, let's be honest, I already said this team's got mojo. It wouldn't surprise me if they just tried at the game instead. Into the mid lane for WE. They'll take a mid-tier 1 off the back of this one when he comes through. Low tick. Actually, we've got an all-in. View has gone real deep on this one. That's a huge amount of damage. Has to flash away. And that's the jungler. Low HP with no flash right before Soul comes up. Kadai will be the sacrificial lamb. It's 13-5. And I think that might be all V5 needs to blow this one over.
I was so happy for WE there. They'd actually played that well, whereas like, okay, we push out top, no pressure there. This gives us the opportunity to group and actually take that mid turret, get the objective bounty. We can reset in towards River and again control that area, quickly pick it off and make sure we're in a good spot. Invincible had actually reset from top side, so there was no pressure there for V5, but unfortunately View, he just tries to bite off more than he can chew here. Like here, just reset and walk into River. That's where you're safe. You can draw V5 into the area, but View tries to do too much, and from that point forward, the long range coming through with the Jhin sets up nice for V5 to pick off Kadai and get themselves this dragon.
So Infernal Soul now 4v5, and you have to say, it's the longer this goes on, there was like a few minutes of hope for WE, but it looked bleak about 10 minutes ago, and it looks bleak now for WE. A TP coming through from Rookie, who has now finished a Void Staff, and PP God is on the hunt. Won't find an opportunity to go for a dredge line just yet, but View forced away. That's going to be a route coming through as well as the rest of the team just jumps in, and immediately WE health bars are shattering here, but B5 pushed back a little bit. Invincible on the backline, as is Carson, trying to finish these carries off, and will be able to do so. Stay falls. PP God gets a kill of his own. As jumping forwards for more. The route goes ever so slightly wide there from Photic, but Invincible trying to close the gap himself. Curtain call now, as they just will not let WE get away with this one. Fourth shot goes wide onto View, but I don't think the fourth shot will matter at all. I think this might be game.
That is 100% going to be game. You've got a good old minion line there. There's not going to be much left in these towers, especially against the Jackson. B5 looking good in game number 1.
Going to be a stun coming down, and it's going to be a kill onto View as PP God will sacrifice himself in the name of the team, but it won't matter. The Nexus will fall, and B5 take their first game of LPL Spring 2022.
I mean, look, we're not quite at the summer yet, but it is looking pretty good for B5.
I almost said 2021 as well.
Yeah, oh true, yeah, 2022.